Hey everyone, welcome to the channel where we talk about all things regenerative farming and how we can cultivate Christmas trees, chestnut trees, poultry, and beef all together right here in Ohio. And one great way that you can support this channel is simply liking this video and subscribing to this channel. And one question I have for you real quick is, what kind of things are you interested in when it comes to regenerative farming? Do you have any questions? Because that could really dictate some topics for future videos on this channel. Okay, today we are planting a bunch of chestnut seedlings in the ground, and we're using these plastic tree grow tubes, which will help protect the seedling as it grows. They're about, the tubes itself are about, I don't know, 6 or 7 feet tall, and they're designed to act as a mini greenhouse, but also to protect it against animal and weather and stuff like that, particularly deer and cattle, which we'll eventually have out here. But essentially the seedling will grow and sprout out the top, and it's tall enough to prevent the cows from eating the leaves as it gets to that height. And that's Kevin. With the side-by-side, there's a bunch of mulch in the back of that side-by-side, which I'll explain what we're doing with that. So this is where we started planting last year. There was 130, 150 or so seedlings out there, and we're planting another, I don't know, I don't remember the numbers. I want to say around 200, something like that, maybe 150 this year. And the process is, you can see where we left off, but we've already went through and pounded all these stakes for this year into the ground. And so we're going through and drilling holes, putting the seedling in the hole, laying some mulch down, and then attaching the plastic tube to the wood stake using zip ties. And each tree gets 2 scoops of mulch, which does a number of things, but primarily it's for water retention. So it keeps the soil underneath the mulch nice and wet during dry months or weeks that we'll eventually have during the summer. Because we do, in the summer, we'll have to go through during a drought and manually water all these seedlings until they're established. And so this is one of the seedlings. So as Kevin is putting the tube, attaching it to the stake, he's just carefully making sure that the seedling doesn't get crushed. Do you want to tell them how we grew these seedlings and we kind of had a little bit of a hiccup this year?
So we were doing really good, and we were on pace to have about 250 seedlings to plant. And, well, then we kind of cooked them in the greenhouse and lost probably about 50 of them. We're hoping, after moving them outside, that they'll be able to recover. A lot of them have new nodes coming out, looking real green, so hopefully they recover. Most of them are still pretty good and green, like the one that we just planted here. All of this is still very experimental for us, so still learning.
But there are some seedlings, like this one right here, where you can see the leaves are starting to turn brown because of the greenhouse problem that we had, where we got too hot for a little bit.
Yeah, we're sitting at about 120 degrees inside the greenhouse.
Yeah, so that's one thing we will try to avoid next year. The stem is very green. It's only really just some of the leaves on the worst ones. That's not really the worst one I've seen yet, but the worst one, that I've seen, the stem was still green, so it should be okay. If not, that's gonna suck.
Yeah.
We'll just have to come back through and replant it next year. Yeah, last year we calculated, so all the trees we planted last year, we came up with a 30% mortality rate for those, which is pretty normal. I think that's actually, it's a little high, but even for our Christmas trees, that's probably considered normal. And also you can see that there's a lot of hairy vetch growing. I think this is leftover from our winter cover crop, but it's thriving this time of year, and it's actually quite beneficial the bees are loving it. There's bees everywhere pollinating these flowers, but the vetch does a great job of covering the soil and preventing the sun from baking it while the summer cover crop grows. Also, hairy vetch has a very intricate and dense root system, which is good for the part of the soil that you can't see, but there is a massive hole here. Yeah, this seedling looks significantly better than the other one. That looks like a regular, normal, thriving chestnut seedling. And I do need to go back through once I'm done yapping to this camera and put the bird nets on.
Yeah.
And so I don't think I've shown the bird nets yet, but at the very top of these tubes is a bird net that's just a simple net that goes on the top and prevents the birds from getting in there. By the way, Kevin was working in the coffee hut this morning. How did that shift go today? Did we do good?
It was our best day. As far as a weekday goes, we had good sales with the real strawberry milk. So what I found most interesting about it was these were like a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old who didn't know what Nic Nic was. Which blew my mind.
At least you didn't bring up Ovaltine.
Eat. I mean, I didn't really drink Ovaltine growing up. I was Nic Nic all the way.
Yeah, I know. Ovaltine, I think, was before our generation.
Right. Now, a real one is Tang, man. Did you have Tang growing up?
Oh, I've had it before, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I think our strawberry milk is the polar opposite of Tang.
100%. The little girl loved it, and the mom was ecstatic about it.
Really? Was it like because it was healthy, or what was she excited about?
She loved the taste of it, and then it was because it was healthy.
That's good. That's good to hear.
Yeah, she was our ideal customer.
Okay.
100% ideal customer. Dude, like everything I told her about the farm, about chestnuts, like she came up and when the little boy like immediately went for the chestnuts that were sitting on the counter. And she's like, oh, those are Buckeyes. I was like, really?
Yeah, multiple people have thought the chestnuts were Buckeyes, which makes sense. We are in Ohio.
Right.
And they do look the same.
Yeah. So I explained it to her, and so...
Man, look at all the butterflies.
Yeah, right? The biodiversity is starting to get...
Yeah, and when we were digging holes yesterday, there was a bunch of earthworms.
Yeah, there were some big ones.
That's always a good sign. And we were talking about setting up a little roast during the Christmas season and seeing if we can sell roasted chestnuts to the Christmas tree customers. But I don't know how feasible that is this year or not.
Well, yeah, maybe not this year, maybe.
Might be a good way to just get people introduced to the chestnuts. Yeah, so this mulch, we actually made it ourselves. Last year we went through our entire perimeter of this field, and over the course of several months went through and cut down all of the overgrowth, primarily honeysuckle and just a bunch of vegetation and overgrowth. And then we went back through and we got a wood chipper that's PTO driven, and we mulched all of it. And now we have an abundance of mulch that we're able to use for these chestnuts, and also we're using them in the Christmas tree fields every once in a while too. So that's been kind of nice.
You want me to correct your timeline?
Please do. What was it?
It's been 2 years.
Has it really?
It has been 2 years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Shipped that.
2 years ago. That was probably the most extensive chore we've had yet.
See this beast?
This one?
Yeah.
My goodness.
That thing is huge.
Come with me to do some chicken chores.
Set. Just gotta clean this up, man. Really? That's it?
How many?
Oh, okay. Only 10, girls are slacking. Maybe tomorrow, too. Oh, I fixed that handle.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Now that I've gotten used to reaching outside, I finally fixed it. Okay, so it's a couple of days later and we finished planting all the seedlings for this year anyway. So they're all in the ground and we ended up with a few extra stakes in the ground already because we just ran out of seedlings. But I guess that just means less work for us next spring when we plant more. So we still have a backlog of projects to do this summer, and I don't know the exact order of which we're gonna do them, but I do know that we need to start watering those seedlings that we just planted pretty soon, and we need to start pulling weeds around the Christmas trees, and we need to order some meat birds and get them in the chicken tractor. So be sure to stay subscribed to this channel if you want to follow us on this regenerative journey and just to see us do all these chores. And also like this video if you haven't done so already, and I will see you guys in the next video.